Yo, what's up guys, welcome back to another video. This is a reaction to 5 lies about America us Brits were told before we visited. Obviously, these two went to the US a few months back now, but from that they've managed to, I guess, get a large understanding and a better understanding of how, I guess, certain viewpoints that people may have on the country aren't true, or just whatever. Like they've done videos of their experiences in many different aspects, and this is now one where, I guess, things that maybe Brits are taught to believe or just sort of think about Americans in general, just generalizing maybe through like TV series or news and stuff, how it's not necessarily the case. And yeah, we're going to check this out. Hopefully you're going to enjoy, and let's jump into this reaction.
What is up guys, welcome back to the channel. Today's video is 6 lies we were told before going to America.
Yeah, these are good ones.
These are good ones.
It's not good to lie.
Yes, well, it's just,
yeah, I guess
myths are and stuff which maybe potentially is overstated a little bit.
Maybe
more.
opinions,
and this is our experience.
Yeah.
So maybe it is
not the same for everyone.
Yeah, not the same for everyone. But maybe not all of them. Some of them are definitely not true.
Yes, definitely.
Smash that if you enjoy, guys. Smash that subscribe button. Sorry about the mess in here. That is Archie's playpen.
This room is, the rest of the flat is spotless. This room is our like dumping ground, if you will. Like this is where things need to get taken to the tip. We need to put things into storage. Unfortunately, this is
the room, and it's also our recording room as well. So we only live in a 2-bed flat. We haven't got loads and loads of rooms, and we have to.
Archie does not play in his playpen like that. Can I just clarify?
It goes in the lounge.
It's in here because he doesn't like the playpen right now.
But yeah, smash that button, guys. Smash the subscribe button, and let's get into number 1, which we have is we put it down as guns, but this lie is that there's guns everywhere. The idea that you walk down the street, you see someone holding a pistol or something like that.
Yeah. So I remember when we were going to New York.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then this girl on my course, I was at college then, and she was like, "Don't go to America. There's so many guns." And I was like, because I was a bit freaked out about guns too. That was a big thing for me before we went to New York, especially. Was, oh my god, I'm a bit scared about the guns.
Yeah.
Honestly, that's how my girlfriend feels as well, because obviously, just conversations and stuff, like I feel like everyone sort of wants to go to the US. It's sort of like, I'm not gonna say the dream for everyone, although it probably is for a lot of people as well, but just to experience sort of the US, because it's, especially for like British people, it's like you're going to a country that's completely different, but then it's the same language, and obviously there's a lot of, I guess, connections between the two countries in terms of history and stuff. But just in general, going to the US is that thing that I feel like a lot of people want to go to, whether it's Florida or California or New York State or just wherever, like different places throughout the US. But she's definitely scared of that sort of stuff because of like the news reports you see, and obviously there are some horrifying stories that come out of the US in terms of like school shootings and stuff. Especially like, I feel like recently it's not been as common, but it does, obviously you see it a lot, right? But I guess also when you don't really know much about the country and then you just hear news reports, that's just going to be your thought process. So what she's saying there, I feel like I can relate that to even my girlfriend. And it doesn't even come from like a bad place. It's just what you see. So you can't necessarily blame people. But I guess when they went, and I think they just said about how maybe she went to New York beforehand, it's not like that. And of course it's not. You're not going to be walking in America and someone's just walking out with a pistol, just holding it out or whatever. Like, it's just not going to be the case. Unless you're very unlucky in a situation where maybe there's a robbery or something, you know. But I see what she's saying, because I can definitely see this sort of opinion being of a lot of young Brits or young people that don't know much about the US.
I think I only saw guns in the airport and maybe on the police officers in Times Square.
Don't get me wrong, because we're definitely going to get comments on this. People definitely would have had guns.
They definitely would have. We just wouldn't. They're just not out. Yeah, you just would.
You would not be able to tell if someone had one or not, which then kind of gets out of your mind. Because you can't see it.
Yeah. Definitely. We must walk past those people that probably had them, but they weren't out there knowingly. Like you couldn't see it when you walked past people.
Yeah, exactly. I didn't see a single gun.
Whereas
outside.
I thought that we would see it everywhere.
Yeah, you'd see, especially because there were signs on like the hotel saying no gun allowed in here and stuff like that, and you kind of thought, oh, are we going to see it? And like you say, the typical thing is there's guns everywhere in America, which there is a lot of guns. But the idea of you walk around every corner and you see someone holding a gun or doing open carry,
not true. From our experience,
it's not true. Again, let us know what you guys think in the comments below. Do you do the next one?
Yeah, so the next one is that everybody's overweight. I think...
but they're not.
They're not, definitely.
Was it in a reaction video that I saw this or not? Maybe it was even in my own time while I was doing a reaction video. Like the US, I feel like it's the extremes. You get the extremes of both sides. You get the fittest people and then the most overweight people. And obviously you'll have people in between. It's not obviously just extremes, but you'll get the extreme sides of things. And maybe that sort of exacerbates the opinion on that. Like people see these images of very, very overweight people and think, oh, that's just how all Americans are. When I assume that just isn't the case, and from what they're saying, it's not the case. I guess it just depends also on the region that you're in as well. But things do definitely get blown out of proportion. Not to say that there isn't an issue in the US with that, because there's also an issue in the UK with that. And from the numbers, it's not as extreme as the US, but it's bad here, like in terms of the amount of people that are overweight. But then I walk around throughout the cities that I live in and stuff, and cities that I go to, cities that I live in one city, and it's not very common. Like it's not a very common occurrence that I'll see someone and like genuinely think, like, oh, they're very overweight, or it's just like I don't really notice it. So I assume it's probably the same in the US, where you hear this stuff, but at the same time, it's not going to actually be as visibly obvious. Especially maybe from a British person's perspective. Maybe if you're asking someone from Thailand who's going to the US for the first time, it will be a very different sort of thought process, because I feel like people in Thailand, or just different countries, I don't know why I said Thailand, they are going to be a lot fitter, and just a lot of the population will just be a similar weight, as opposed to a country like the US or the UK and all that. But from a British perspective, and from what they're going to say, probably isn't that much of a noticeable difference.
Not. So I feel like this is definitely a myth, and one that is kind of... It's quite a big one, I think. And I think like people in the UK always joke about this. I think that Americans are all overweight.
Yeah.
I can't say that I noticed more overweight people than not.
Yeah, I guess
I didn't count.
Yeah,
but I can't say I really thought, oh my god, in Santa Monica there's a lot of... I just didn't... You just don't think about it.
Exactly. I think obviously there was overweight people. The stats back it up. Same in the UK and stuff like that. And I don't know what the percentages are, but I believe there potentially is more overweight people in America than the UK. Mm-hmm. But the way it gets said is, like you said, everybody's eating fast food. Everyone's having 5 burgers for dinner. Everybody's overweight.
And don't get me wrong.
And there's no fit people. Like, it's kind of a stereotype at times. It's like, what? Really?
Like, In-N-Out is well good, and I would probably eat that every day if I could. But yeah, it's not. It's just not. I don't know. I just didn't know. I just didn't notice it. Like. Yeah. Yeah. I think that's it.
You don't look for it anyway. But I think if somebody is extremely overweight, you normally notice.
Yeah.
Not if you care or not.
I can't say I wasn't paying attention.
Yeah, and like you say, I don't care if they're overweight. At the end of the day, it's their life. It's got nothing to do with me.
Yeah.
But I think it does catch your eye potentially. And then you just get on with your life because it's none of your business.
Yeah.
But nothing caught my eye, to be honest.
No.
And like I say, I think it's just exaggerated that one.
I think so, definitely. And maybe it's got worse because everyone's played on it and kind of like made it into a jokey thing now.
Definitely. Again, this one may be perceived as a little bit of a jokey thing. There is the saying, the Brits think 100 miles is a long distance and Americans think 100 years is a long time. So this one is...
I've had that so many times.
History. And again, yes, the UK has a longer history. Yes, there's buildings which are super old. But there is so much history
for us short space of time, I think.
In short space, really cool history which is worth seeing. And I would say
we saw, like, we learn about history almost every day of our trip. Something new every day about
Something
America.
New would pop up.
About what, like even just the day at the Alamo. How much we learned there.
Alamo as well. And that was a big one.
Yeah, that was a big one. But yeah, there is clearly history.
Clearly history. And some awesome sites. Like, again, I don't know how old the painted ladies are, but just...
Also, some of the oldest... I don't want to say the oldest. What's that place in America where it's like the really old buildings that I guess are sort of like carved into like a cave system or something like that? Maybe not a cave system. I'm probably not explaining it the best. But the really, really old civilization or whatever that's been kept to now. Like, you have some of the oldest buildings there as well. Obviously, they're not necessarily related to the history of the United States, but the land as a whole has so much history as well. which you can't really forget about. I mean, that is what the land is, you know. But, and also, even in recent history, the US has like such an involvement in recent history, like the last 200-300 years. And then at the same time, you can look at buildings built in the last sort of 200-300 years and stuff like that, maybe a bit less, maybe a bit more. And they stand out. Like a building that's built, like a church that's built, 700-800 years ago, it's incredible to see. But you'll also see buildings built a few hundred years ago, and it's also incredible to see, you know. So I love, obviously, the infrastructure of like old buildings that are well kept and actually sort of that adds to the city. Because you also have a lot of older buildings that maybe are built a lot more recently that aren't very pretty and stuff like that, which it makes sense. That's more of a thing in Europe for sure. But then some people don't like new builds, and I like the mixture of historical builds and then the new builds of like skyscrapers and all this sort of stuff. I feel like it's a really cool mixture you can have, and it's a thing that you find throughout US cities. Like you'll find US cities that have like churches or just old buildings that are very well kept, and then they'll have skyscrapers not necessarily right next to them but nearby, and it just adds to the city, as opposed to Europe, which will have one sort of type of building. And then, don't get me wrong, it's beautiful, but it's cool to mix it up. I feel like London's probably a good one to say mixes it up quite a lot, to be fair. I don't know, I'm getting to this as well because that wasn't even what they were talking about, but I thought I'd get into that.
So random site where you think that is really cool with Victorian houses, like the San Francisco Victoria. Didn't know it was a thing. It definitely is a thing. Archie has joined the video. Hello, mister.
First time he's seen Daddy, so he might be a bit...
Yeah, I was going to say, I haven't actually seen you. Hello. He's been asleep. Hello, lad. You on the video?
He's saying, hiya.
He's like, I've just woke up, guys. What's going on? The next one we have on the list is fast food.
Yeah, fast
and
food.
This is in terms of... Not everyone, there isn't only just fast food. American food isn't fast food.
No, exactly. Like, literally, everyone says to me, like, Americans... I think that ties in with the other way one. Americans just eat fast food, blah, blah, blah. All they have is fast food. That, like, when they think about American food, they all say burgers, etc., stuff like that. But that is not the case. Like, we had so many varieties of food types. And don't get me wrong, the fast food was good. Don't get me wrong. But there's a lot of local food, and like, I guess, state food.
Which is completely different to what we make and stuff like that.
Archie really like the barbecue.
Yeah. Did you like that? So, like, there's so much American food which isn't
just
classed
burgers.
As American food.
Yeah, like Tex-Mex, I guess. I would not think of that in America as a big part of America.
But it is in Texas. It's a big part of it. It's a take on Mexican food, barbecue. Again, we're going to be using Millie's mic right now. Our barbecue is completely different.
Yeah, definitely. It's just not. I can't even call it barbecue.
He's just taken the mic.
No, we can't.
So the last one is transport. This was a big one because we've been told so many times. Yeah, that the transport in the US is bad. That it's not good. And I think actually specifically San Francisco was called out.
Yeah, San Francisco was really good.
And I found you did all the planning with it and everything, and it was great.
It was great, and I think this comes from, in the UK, you can get cross-country transport, so it seemed as amazing transport, and it is good.
Yep.
The public transport...
Goddamn expensive, though. My God, it is so pricey.
It is really good in terms of getting everywhere.
Can I go down?
But because you can't get from one side of the US to the other consistently, and each state always by train, for example, people say it's bad transport. But when you actually go within a state, which is similar sizes to the UK, you can get quite far in a state with buses and stuff like that. And I think it was good.
Yeah, I don't think we had any negative experiences.
No, and we did quite a lot in San Francisco. We went from San Antonio to Austin on the bus as well.
Yeah, exactly.
And I rated it quite well.
Yeah, I did.
Smash that button if you enjoy, guys. Smash that subscribe button. We did have a few more, but it's hard to watch it, so we're going to leave them for part 2.
There we go. That transport one is pretty interesting, to be fair, because I wouldn't have assumed that, but I guess if they actually used it and they can talk about their experiences with it, then it makes sense that they didn't find it maybe necessarily as bad as it's sort of seen as. That's for letting Europeans know that the US has real food, not just McDonald's. Wait, that's... Do they mean thanks? That is what you get. Come back from a barbecue, Texas. Teenagers, I guess it means teenagers, from France stayed with us for a month and loved the food. Barbecue, Tex-Mex, roasts, casseroles, fresh vegetables. The variety in general blew them away. See, that's the thing. Like, certain countries, like Italy, for example, like, specialize in certain foods, but just having that sort of food over and over would just be a bit like, oh, when am I going to try something else? Well, like, when am I going to have my burger? When am I going to have my ribs? You know. So yeah, I guess the US is quite cool because it has all these foods, but then it's so many other foods as well. You can just mix up with whatever you want. And yeah, wait, according to your NHS, 72% of Brits are overweight. That is definitely not true. And according to the US National, what's this, NIH, Health Institution? 73, even though that would be National Institution of Health. Maybe it's that. 73% of Americans are overweight. In my opinion, either one making fun of the other for this falls firmly in the pot calling the kettle black category. I mean, that definitely isn't true of the UK, and I assume probably not true of the US either. There's no way 72% of Brits are... Actually, I guess overweight. Is being overweight being over your BMI? Because I think technically I'm over my BMI, from what I remember. So I guess maybe if it's in terms of the BMI, maybe that is true. But hey, I don't know. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed this reaction. And until next time, like, subscribe. Peace.